Calvin T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emmy TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
What's up? What's up? Good afternoon. It's Monday, October to the 11th. Today we will be discussing boy crisis. First of all, we got to pay some bills, so we're going to give a shout out to TCF Bank. We also going to give a shout out to Chase Bank. We're going to give a shout out to CNS Healthcare for supporting our vision, our mission, our work. Most definitely, shout out to the Balmer Group. We are growing, impacting, building, doing the things we need to do. How you doing, Brother Book?
Doing pretty good.
L is in the building, and we
got Brother Dave here now.
Brother Dave popping in. Interesting conversation today. One thing I want to make clear, if you're not following me, then you're not looking for no solutions. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel. That's what I'm seeing. So if you're not following me, if you're not following METV, if you're not supporting Encourage Me, I'm Young, you're not really into solutions. And so I want to make that clear, but I got to make it clear. Because if you don't believe in your brand, nobody going to believe in your brand. So you have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to believe in what God has given you. But I want to go into this conversation clearly. Brother Dave, you on?
Yeah, I'm on. How's it going?
Good, brother. Good. Just very excited to be here, and glad to have you in the building. I know you.
Yeah, glad to be back.
I know you been putting the work in, and we truly appreciate having you back in the building. And our conversation, Dave, is around boy crisis.
Okay.
USA Today wrote an article today. Schools are failing young males. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Society does it in colors. Right? Black male, Hispanic male, white male, orange male, pink male, right? We do it in colors, right? But just like at the 2014 Men's Issue Conference with Dr. Warren Farrell and all the men, it was up to me to paint the picture that men were reaping what they have sown and were in trouble. And I said the first indication in the first location where you have to take a look at where the trauma and everything is happening is in the boys. So we've had this conversation, Dave. We've talked about it, but maybe they'll believe it because it came from USA Today, right? Maybe, see, they can't go on USA Today and say, you don't know what you're talking about. Men ain't this, and, men, right? USA Today, that's out to millions. And so this is how simple they start out the article. Imagine being bombarded with a chorus of pay attention, stop fidgeting, don't touch that. Yet, that's what many boys experience in school each day. Mm-hmm. That's how they start the article out, right? They go into this article in depth, and when they get to here, let me tell you, 30 years, a guy spoke. He said, the boys are falling behind. I said, well, it shouldn't have took us 30 years to recognize that the boys falling. I knew this when I was 20, right? I saw it clear, right? According to the Brookings Institution in 2018, about 88% of girls graduated on time compared to 82% of boys. That 6% is huge. Mm-hmm. It's huge, right? Then they go on. College enrollment gaps. 64% of the college students, women made up 60% of college students, while men accounted for only 40%. That 20% That's huge. That's from the National Student Clearinghouse. Right? College enrollment in the United States has declined 1.5 million students over the past 5 years, with men accounting for 71% of that drop. Let's pause right there and take in the 71% accounting for 71% of that drop. Now, often, right, many of people gonna cite, right? You're gonna cite the women, you're gonna cite, the mothers, right? I don't want nothing to, right? We're not gonna even go there. Let's just go to actual reality. Right? The reality. Here's the reality. We all participated in that 71% drop. And we don't want to accept that, Dave. Like there is no way, right? Somebody got to take the blame.
Right.
We all got to take the blame.
Right.
Right? We all got to take the blame when we didn't help the little boy, when we didn't when we walked away, right? When we kept the child away from the father, when the father decided he didn't want to be involved, when domestic violence hit the table, when abuse was all present, and when we decided we wasn't going back to church and the pastor wasn't right and the church got this right and the school, and you mad at your boyfriend, so the boys got to pay for it, because the statistics show that when a boy doesn't put his name on his paper, his grades improve 40%. So education played a part. Come on. Right? So in this article, he goes into some of those areas, right? But I want to just stick to the visual. What the hell do we think was going to happen if you take the most exercised human being, which is the male, and you sit him down and he has nothing to do? What have you done? Just like this pandemic, you've trained him to sit. Just like that pet dog, when you say, go sit,
Right.
boy, right? Sit down.
Right.
You've trained your sons. So for everybody out there talking about everybody else's son, right, you're essentially talking about your own son. So when you're talking about these men, talking about how these men ain't no good or whatever, you're talking about your own son.
Right.
When you point out that these men don't do that, they can't do this and this, that, and the other, the whole night, I don't know what's wrong with these men. Oh, I can tell you what's wrong with these men. They go on and on and on and on. Right? Because you had the in-house role model. Your mother was there, so you didn't have to have that absence because you had your role model. But the boy doesn't. Right? So just like yesterday in the mentoring program, Dave, we had 3 boys. These are good boys. These are not boys that, right, are in gangs. These are not boys that, abuse their moms.
Right.
Talk back to their dads. Right? 3 of them. And they were kicked out for the weakest bullshit.
Yeah.
So the school decided, okay, Boog, you had your phone on. Somebody hit your phone. You picked your phone up. You hit them back. Nothing went down. Somebody saw you, so you was kicked out.
Right.
Here's the other one. I brought a toy to school. We had the toy go to the school. The teacher took the toy. He was upset about the toy. Why has he got a toy in school? See?
Right.
So now we take the toy. My problem is, when was he allowed to have a toy in school?
Right.
The first time. Right? So we let him have a toy in school. Now you're going to take it because today you just fed up. And then you didn't like his attitude, but he your favorite student, and he want to get his toy back. So you pink slip him. He's out of school today. That's not a reason to kick a kid out of school.
Right.
So when men are talking, Dave, it's just me to all the mothers and the women who got this new motto and what we supposed to do and how we're doing it. When the men are saying, when the men say, no, don't do that, let me handle that, it's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because the man can see what he needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reason. Oh, well, hey, Dave, we're going to go into this a little deeper, but I got to go into this. I don't want to pay for a mentor for my son. He should be able to get that for free, but I'm going to pay for volleyball, tokenisms. I'm going to pay for cheerleading outfits. I'm going to put up money in her education. I'm going to do a ton. But my son, I'm going to ask him what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know what I can do to raise her. But him, I'm going to ask him, well, what do you want to do? This is your decision. You the man of the house. You the king. Right? So what decision you think he gonna make? I got this Xbox in my jaw. It's in my jaw. Like I can talk Xbox more than I can education. And just like we told our sons, our kids, our mentees yesterday, you don't own nothing more valuable than you getting that education. So we not playing. To be clear, I called the school too. But the paperwork wasn't on file. Right? I found a glitch. From now on, all paperwork on file. We not we come into the school, when I say I'm coming to the school, I'm visiting, I don't want to hear, right, that process, right? That we had interruptions. So back to the whole boy crisis. 71%, Dave. Here's another one. The circumstances affecting their outcomes start much earlier in life. During a boy's formative years, a study from 2013 points to family structure as a driver of boys' behavior.
Right.
And reported by 8th grade for children raised by single mothers that school suspension rate was 25% higher in boys than in girls.
Right.
That's not to say that there aren't legions of single moms. Notice he put the word legions. Right? That's not to say there aren't legions of single moms doing a fantastic job raising their kids. But undeniably, there's an absence of dads crisis in our country. Where you at, Daddy? Where you at? And so when you go talk to the men, right, Dave, we hear it. You go talk to the fathers. What are they saying, Dave? Please share. What do you think the fathers are saying when you go talk to the fathers?
You can't see my kid. Judge won't make the arrangements that still don't follow through. There's always some conflict that pushes the guy away. The parent has, unfortunately, the female parent has talked ill about the child of the father. But now the child don't even want to be bothered with the father, so the list just goes on. And unfortunately, that's the disservice because now our young boys don't really have a model. I mean, today, if you look at the average show, I just saw some recently saying that they want to make Superman transgender. So, there is really no model that the kids can turn to or males can turn to in any form of fashion because it's minimized. And as you just read the article where it says single mothers are doing a fantastic job raising the kids. But, somewhere along the line, something is missing because you say raising the kids, but the girls seem to be okay and the boys are not so okay. So what's wrong with that picture? And statistically, if the numbers continue to produce the outcomes, if less than half of your children are being successful as males in society, you have to ask how they're being raised. And if you exclude the model that is needed, and everybody needs a model. If you go to any job, they're going to put you with a sponsor or a mentor or someone to give you an idea of how this operates. Well, if there's no model for that, and you now are confusing the identity of a gender that's supposed to be designed by God, you bring more confusion, and with confusion comes frustration. With frustration comes division, and you got a breakdown.
Which then falls into right here. 18.3 million children, or 1 in 4, live without biological step or adoptive father in the home. And we like to play the blame game, right? So we like to point out culturally. And here's where the biggest damage has been done. We attack family. I don't know no other culture that goes at family the way we go at family. I've never seen a post. Let me be clear. I've never seen a post the whole time I've been on Facebook. I've never seen a conversation where another culture says family ain't shit. Amazing. We have a family problem, therefore we have a dollars problem, and we've been chasing the dollar and not chasing legacy and the results of what we need to produce, right? When you have 44 million children in the child support system, the one thing that says about us as an American, that money has become your God and not the success of the child. So let's go back. Live without biological step or adoptive father. In other words, the newspaper, USA Today, statistics and everything, is saying to the world how important fathers are.
That's right.
They're saying how important fathers. They're not saying, oh, well, he didn't want to come get him today. I'm going to do so-and-so. Oh, we so-and-so, this, that, and the other, right? They're saying, right, you got an opioid crisis. White America is dealing with an opioid crisis. Across America, you're dealing with a number of kids with pills and suicide and violence and video, right? You got all of this. But what is happening is the boy gets to make his decision. So it's almost like it's a setup. Okay, son, I don't know how to raise you, but tell me what you want to do. Do you want to go to football practice or do you want to stay here? Well, I'm going to stay here. Son, you're going to be, look at the pressure. Son, you're going to be the great, right? So, boy crisis develops. Now you dealing with some more new things, right? It's always, we're going to create the problem and then we're going to finance the solution or Band-Aid it, right? I'm going to create this problem, right? Look at the pandemic. We create this problem. Now everybody would, got to have a shot. Who benefits? When did we first learn that we could do that? Oh, man, we need to do this because look how much everybody got to go sit down. Okay, well, let's push pills. While you sit down, let's push this violence. Let's come with Halloween, the 20th anniversary. This time we're going to take off his mask and humiliate him. He still gets up. Let's look at the court system. I can bomb the embassy, the American run-up, the whole nine, and nobody really goes to jail. But, boy, if you had a tan, they'd have shot that boy all the way up. It would have been bodies everywhere. That's not a hypothetical or a lie. That's the conditioning that we're doing across the board as Americans, as families, as people, as politicians, right? As parents, as aunties, as uncles, as cousins. So when you see a 71%, let's go down. There's a lack of male role models in our schools, too. As of 2018, only 24% of all K-12 teachers were men. We don't even want to teach.
That's 76% of the males in the school that's not there. That's sad.
We don't even want to teach the next generation, but we want to yell and scream, I'm an American. I'm here, I'm an American, I'm this, you people. Oh man, white people be tripping, man. Oh yeah, that's all conditioning.
Well,
Right.
you know, a lot of men don't want to be teachers because the first thing they're looking at is salary.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell men that they're supposed to be the providers and do this for their family. Most men looking at teaching, especially K through 12, like, why I'm gonna take this teaching job when I can do
Right.
this over here and make 3 times more
Okay,
and take care of my family.
that's right. You can, right? But you're not at home, right? You're not at home. See, you can go make that money because that's another issue. You at work all the time. So that's no different because the man in the 50s, he was at work all the time. Mama's maybe, daddy's, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. The milkman was getting on for years. The Summer of 42, the movie itself tell you, come on. You look at, you can see even in the old movies where they showing you while you hear somebody coming through that door. Right? So we made tough the thing. So now you hear women say, you weak, but your son. The very thing that you don't want to see in a man, you say, this man, he weak. You want to take advantage of somebody else's raising and say, this is supposed to be my man. And hopefully he don't cheat. Hopefully he's not a cheater. But you want to hide the fact that you're a cheater. You want to hide the fact, remember, you cheat better. You want to hide the fact, and indeed, right? So we're talking issues across the board. This ain't just no man issue. This ain't just no woman issue. It's a we thing. This is a we thing. And this is the results of what we have done to our boys. And that's across the board. So you can play racism. You can play hate. You can play politics. You can play all the hell you want to play. This is what we have done to the boy child, the original seed carrier, the one that brings the seed to the table. You have not valued, and we have done a poor job at valuing ourselves. So I just want to make that clear, right? It goes on. Boys face, peep this one. Boys face more discipline. So imagine what that black boy face. Ooh. 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 Boys face more discipline. I've sat in here on a number of days since we've been doing this podcast. The black boy is the most removed boy from our school. We got 8 kids in the mentoring program. 3 of them was kicked out as of yesterday. 5 out of 8. 3 out of 8 was kicked out for the smallest things. Right? But as I explained to them, I had to explain to them because I want them to understand. We don't want you kicked out. I want you to lead. I want you to take over. I don't want you to just be ordinary. Because ordinary, you can't be ordinary in this society. Because being ordinary as a male only gets you ordinary results. God birthed you to be great. God put things in you that society has no idea, right? And no matter how we look at it, if you want to live long, you need daddy. You need a daddy, period. And I'm going to preach that till the lights go out. If you want to live long, you need your daddy. At the beginning, infant mortality. The infant mortality rates in this country is through the roof, but in Cleveland and Detroit, 71 and 72% single household rate, infant mortality, snatch babies daily. They came on TV and was happy to save like 28 babies. What's the deal? The government is the daddy. So with the government being the dad, let's talk realistic, because that's what a check at. That's what you got more resources away from me than you do with me. You got medical. You get a food card. That's gonna handicap you like that video game. If you do too much of that, now you caught in the system. So all your kids is born on the system. All your food is in the system. And as I told y'all, remember, I got real in depth with the paternist information. Since before slavery. The government had a plan to be the father of the country. Yeah. So, yeah, you got to count on the government. Mayday, the lights went out. Yeah, we shut it down because business got their hands in everything. So even gun violence, business got their hands in it. Even the medical industry got their hands in it. So you got to what? I got this card. Let me give you this medicine. I told you my story, how they tried to give me 5 pills.
Mm-hmm.
You tried to give me 5 pills. In 6 months, I ain't know nothing. Ain't no pills.
Mm-hmm.
Big man, no pills, no high blood pressure, no. I ain't got to mess with your meat. Mm-hmm. And when I put your meat down, right, it does something different to your body. Mm-hmm. I take vitamins. I'm 56, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a whole nother scenario. I ain't got to eat your meat, right? So I ain't got to eat your meat a long time. Mm-hmm. I ain't gotta have steak. I ain't gotta eat a steak to eat meat. I can eat the best meat for me. We all know how racism has attacked everything. You go to Oakland County, they get the best of the meat. But as it heads toward the city, you start getting the worst of the meat. And the people that handle the meat might not love and care for you. So you allow and wait because that's their governmental training. You are dependent on somebody else. Now that's racism. These are the things that impact our boys, right? Because I'm under the pressure, right? Today, our boys are all getting lists toward their grades, right? Because word lists, right? So think about that. We got boys who haven't had in their home, in their lifetime, 30,000 words. We got children who are not even exposed to 30,000 words. Your voting populace, 67% of the city is illiterate, right? So they have to go by word of mouth and what they see to even vote because they're not necessarily reading shit.
Right.
So what is the boy seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I'm going to go down here, Dave, and then we're going to really get off into it. We're in 429. We marked the thing, right? Given that boys are more likely to be held back, right? We have a thing in sports right now. This is a thing in sports. You hear me? This is what's happening to athletes right now. They hold their kid back. I hold my kid back for the sport. My kid might be smart. Maybe my kid is supposed to be a doctor. No, I'm going to hold my kid back for this basketball. Mm-hmm. So now my kid, who's supposed to be playing against all the juniors in his school, here he is, a junior as a freshman. He a freshman in high school. He 15. Going on 16 as a freshman. Because he was held back. So now here comes his senior year. He 19. Second half of his senior year in the state of Michigan, he can't play. What do? His senior year, we sent him to a prep school. Yeah. So we helping, holding him back. Damn. Just take that in. No. Guess why? For the idea of money. We're going to paint this picture, brother. Mm-hmm. Today we're going to paint this picture. Right? It's easy to understand why teachers might approach male students with certain unconscious biases, which may translate into self-fulfilling outcomes. What are the biases? The news. Every day, as soon as you cut on the news, immediately, all you see is violence from the black community. They're going to show that. They got you on display. Mm-hmm. They're going to show that. So when they show that, then they constantly repeat that. Good evening. In the news today, we had such and such in the drive-by. 2 bodies were located so-and-so at the same time across town in their communities. Welcome to Dateline. There was a time when Frank really loved his wife. They really had a loving family. And suddenly Frank, one day Frank comes home from work and his wife is dead. Mm-hmm. And Frank, we can't understand. So what happens? Privilege ignores a lot of things. So Frank takes advantage. And then 10 years later, they find out Frank was the one that really killed her. That's on Dateline every week. Welcome to Dateline. I'm your host, right? So we sophisticate that murder and we vow this murder. But to me, it's all murder. And it says everything about what is happening to our males because this is another teaching model. So if all you teach me is violence, eventually you don't want me here. You want me to I got tattoo because I get permission. Hey, mom, baby, you the king. You the king of the house. Come on, me and you go get tattoos. He can't read shit. But you going to get a tattoo with him. Right? And then he got the best of the prom, but grade-wise, he ain't even on the 3rd grade level. So you're not valuing. In a meeting today, the first thing they said was, oh, the parents are there early on, but as soon as they hit high school, something happens in the city where the parents don't really show for the 9th graders. Right? So if you're not at the signature schools, or, right, you got these charter schools, and charter, what did that do for the boy? I can go all day. I've been watching this for the longest. We can go all day, but I want to make this clear. I'm not suggesting that school structure should be relaxed. A structured learning environment is very important for boys, but this can be achieved in concert with using teaching techniques that work especially well for boys. We're not even concerned about his teaching technique. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Craft lessons with boys in mind. We know that boys benefit from introducing lessons through dramatic points of entry that grab their attention. We know that boys are kinesthetic learners who benefit from hands-on activities. As we said this week and this summer at this event off of 6 Mile, it's on a TikTok. My executive director is telling the community literally what it takes to teach boys and what it takes to teach girls. And this whole notion about the frontal lobe was for you to accept and buy in it. Children that play, children that have their fathers, children involved, that whole piece, the frontal lobe conversation, it doesn't necessarily exist. For some strange reason, when the dad's there, the frontal lobe thing is not really a thing. Right? Because what dads do, dads in play, the healthy cognitive thing where dads play with their children is so important to the children's brain. But if all I can say about that father, just so you will love me and not be incorporating, maybe I don't know who the father is, okay, say that, but not incorporating and blaming somebody else. I remember, I'll tell this story and I'm gonna be quick and then we can get into it, Dave. My man, we in the barbershop on Schoolcraft, me and my man Tom. Straight up true story. Kid walks in the back door, just out the sky blue, telling me that's his father. Tom don't know the kid from a can of paint. So Tom find out, like, what's the deal? I've been trying to get Tom to come on because you talking about stories on fatherhood. Oh my God, it'll blow your head, right? So I'm going, okay. And this man got his. You hear me? Right? And I'm going, okay. Right? I'm like, what's up? So then he find out who the mama is. Tom don't blink. Me, I'm tripping. He don't blink. Who's your mama? Right? Get on the phone. She on the phone apologizing because she put him down on the birth certificate as a father because he was the only father figure that she knew. Hey, man, listen. Brother, listen. Listen. That brother had a rearage up the wazoo for that. See, it's not a me thing. It is most definitely a we thing. So when we talk about boys, look at the things that boys have to go through just to get in the classroom. And then when they get in the classroom, I'm talking to about little Kyrie yesterday. We're having a conversation. Kyrie has been taught to be a number of things. He's been around the program since inception. Kyrie is 5. Kyrie is in the gym. Kyrie gonna be a monster. But Kyrie is going to school. On the school bus, Kyrie is blown away, shocked by the environment and the conduct of the kids on the bus. He said, they're just mean. They're just mean. Is all people mean? So what do you think that's going to do for Kyrie? Because Kyrie now got to go to school in that environment. What is that going to do for him? And my suggestion, and I'm going to say it, and I told the mom, I said, you better get him out of there. He deserved better. He's smart. He deserved better. Let's look at some other ways of educating. Get the maximum out of this boy. Because putting him in an environment where that's not the case, right? That's not the case, right? And I'm in his life. So this is something that we're going to be talking about extensively. So with that being said, Dave, I would love to hear your words. Unintentionally, here's the word that they use that we were taught not to use. It is, what I'm saying is that within almost any school setting, there's room to improve our practices to ensure boys aren't being unintentionally marginalized or excluded. That's in the USA Today.
Yeah, yeah. And that's unfortunate that that's where it's gotten to. But with the division in the household and the lack of communication and education, you're going to see this as an ongoing way. I mean, it's spread across the board. And this really comes down to identity, not necessarily in gender, but identity and who you are from the inside out. And unfortunately, we don't see much of producing a positive identity for our boys. We've been kind of bamboozled in so many ways with the illusion, as you said earlier, dollars and cents mean something. And it has its place. It's basically just a tool for us to get to the destination we're trying to get to. But we have lost sight because we have made it our God. And unfortunately, because the old saying go, when you have more, you do more, there was a time in history as Black people didn't have much. So we united, we worked together. Fathers was in the home, fathers was respected, father was viewed as an intentional, important entity in the household. But unfortunately, as life progressed on, and our father was removed out of home for various reasons, some by design, some by just relationships falling apart, that produced what I think is this crisis that we see. And it's been going on for many, many years. Yes, USA Today has wrote an article, but these articles are endless. And yet we write them just like there was a conversation I had with somebody. And I said at the end of the conversation with the men, I said, well, this is the 1,001 conversation about this crisis or this problem issue when it comes down to men, and the same here with boys. Until we decide to unite and come together and be here's the key word, consistent in our movement to bring about positive change for our boys, this is just another conversation. It's just like another article. You see, it makes no sense to me when I look and I'm in different groups, I'm on different podcasts, radio shows, and we hear all these issues about men and boys. But yet when it comes down to it, let's just eradicate right now females altogether. They're not the issue for right now. Let's just look at the fact that the men are not coming together. So the pastor at my church announced we're going to start a new men's group. And he said, any of the men that are available, let us know. Did any man raise his hand? Absolutely not. And yet you have women, when they have their groups, they united. And even if they got conflict, they still remain united. But as long as we as men continue to do a whole lot of talking, as a man said, talking loud and saying nothing, but I would say talking loud and doing nothing, this is going to be our crisis. So what's the solution? The first thing we got to do is we got to unify. We got to come together. We got to stop doing a whole lot of lip service. We got to stop being the big gorilla and banging on our chest, validating who we are, because apparently we must don't know who we are because we're falling apart. We're falling apart. You know, it's this bark, bark, bark. I'm 63 years old, man. I've had these conversations 1,001 times. And when you try to get men to do something, they just talk a whole lot of talk. And as long as they, just like before, as long as they got there, see what happened here when assimilation came about, you know, what Malcolm was talking about, we should basically stay within our own group. But we assimilated to another group, we lost our identity. And that identity we want to tap into so we can get these resources, have a good job, had a nice car, had a nice clothes, had the best women, yada, yada, yada. But all this is manipulated by the wizard. And I remember Brian Allen, basically he's a big producer now, but he used to be a comedian. He said, he who controls the media controls the world. Well, the media is the wizard. The wizard tell you the color for the day is green and you operate. And that's what we do. And look how the media is portraying us as men. If we're not we're still, even coming from the black exploitation movement, we're still doing the same thing, creating this ideal. It's about cars, it's about women, it's about sports. And where do you hear anything about education? Where do you hear about development of the man? And if you look at any show today, you will see every man. Now, this ain't even a race issue. You will see just about any show will find yourself putting that man down. The woman puts him down. The kids puts him down. The woman talks down to him. Everybody is putting the man down. And he stands there with these slumped shoulders, this stupid look, a look of bewilderment, and has no clue how to respond. And if you look, the women are supporting each other, just like I'm not putting these people down, just like the gay community or the LGBT community. They're all uniting, but men are dividing. I left the military, went to the Million Man March. I don't know if it was a million. They said it was 900,000. I don't know what a million men in one location looked like, but it looked like a whole lot of men to me. I saw them crying. I saw them uniting. I saw them hugging. But just like everything else, soon as the party was over, we went back home. We talked about it for 2 weeks, and everything went back to status quo. Matter of fact, let me recap that. It wasn't status quo. It got worse because men were talking loud and ain't doing nothing. We got all these groups across the board. We got all these opportunities. We got more exposure now. We got more billionaires than ever in history. If you even talk about blacks, yet we ain't doing nothing. Every one of these men that rise up to the top and get successful, they come from dirt poor. They were so poor they had to borrow from the roaches to pay the rats. Yet all of a sudden you look up here now, they so rich they ain't got time. They ain't got time. And then let's go into finances. We so ignorant when it comes down to finances, we don't even know how to hold on to $1. So before you know it, you got $1. Heck, you just spend 99% of that dollar to the person that you work for to get the dollar from. So how are we going to unite and change the boys' situation when we don't even work together? We don't support each other. We talk, but we don't do nothing. And so you get this small, as I like to call it, this small group of men such as yourself, myself, Bull, and many other men like that who's trying to do so. Here's the biggest problem. It's like the churches. If we all talking about the same God, why aren't we unifying? Why is it I got to fight so hard to get you to support me? Well, think about it. If a boy is observing this division, he's going to follow suit. Why? That's his model. That's his model. So we got no support. And so this guy comes and write an article, as you say, we're going to pay attention to them because that's USA Today. But you ain't going to listen to the guy who's moving from the heart. See, God, when he was talking, looking for David, he told Samuel, yeah, man looks at the appearance, the outer appearance. I'm looking at the heart. Men like yourself, men like Mill, you guys out here, hey, look, I'm doing this from the heart. But we can't bring the two hearts together. And what's a heart when it's divided? It's broken. So we got to wake up and we got to stop talking. We got to take action. And we, as you said, they don't need to backing down. You got to stand for what you believe in. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Now, I'm proud that you stand up. I'm proud that you speak up. That's why I'm with you, because at the end of the day, we need men that's willing to stand up and stand firm. And we need to check our men to say, look, man, why are we united? When me and you was on the call, I never forget this. My auntie had passed away. She almost made 100. And I got off the call and I said the exact same thing. I said, man, this is an amazing thing. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, business owners, all kind of brothers on there. It was dynamic. And I remember closing out, said, this is nice. I love this. My energy is wired up. But what we gonna do? Are we gonna come together? Imagine every one of these programs that these guys had. Imagine if they were supporting your program and you supporting their program. I don't care if you got 2 people and they got 5. That's 7. That's more than 1. And you keep playing another. 7 to 14, 14, 20, and the numbers keep growing exponentially. But we don't do that. We just talk. So at the end of the day, the crisis, I'm not a naysayer, but the crisis will continue if we continue doing what we're doing. And we should have a pair, I like to say a pair, to stand up to our women because as Jefferson said, they moving on up. We need to stand up, let them know that we are men in the household. But listen, being a man is not what's between your legs, and nor is it classified by you being a male species. Being a man is being accountable and responsible. We got to do our part first. Find who we are with the identity that God gave us. And he gave us an identity and he gave us a purpose. But if we don't act on it, the end result is going to continue to be the same. Boys in crisis who become men in crisis and men who become animals in a cage known as the prison system. And if he's not in the cage, he's in the grave. One or the other, that's what we're going to continue to see.
So thank you. I was going to say to you, most definitely, we doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave, let me say this, that not only are we doing it, but we're doing it together. And you know, one of the most the incredible environment that we have with the work that we do, it's the mutual respect, right? My son called me today. We was talking about some sports. He said, "You know what? I like Dave." I said, "Yeah, because Dave is authentic." He said, "Yeah, Dad." Right? I really like Dave. Right? And my point is, that's how we show up. See, the numbers, people have perceptions, and they have these concepts, and you know, and they had this thing with how they think about you. Well, you know, I'm just, you know, I can see Calvin Mann on the surface, this, that, and the other. One of the hardest things I had to get over was I was called selfish. I couldn't believe it. It was shocking. So I didn't say a word. Right? Selfish. And I thought about that for 2 weeks. I researched every ounce of what I'm doing. I'm not selfish. I understood that, but I had to research, right? Because it was meant to hurt me, right? But I say that to say the work that we do, the resources we share, the environment, they'll never be able to say that about us. And that's why we have to get louder. That's how we have to become more of the example, right? There are a lot of people come talk to you, man, I really want to do this, and okay, do it. Right? I'm telling you right now, you got to do it. You can't talk me, right? You got to do it, you know? We just, you got to do it. When you going to do it? What does that look like? Who do you know? What's your plan? Right? Because everybody, we just had a guy he come chasing, Raheem sent him to me, he want to talk about golf. Okay, well, this is what it's going to take for that golf. We need you to do some research. So he figured he ain't got to do the research, right? So he can go from here. Eventually, after running around, right, you don't have to do the research, right? We told him at the business shower, you need to research what it costs, what is it going to be, what does it take, build your budget, the whole nine. You know, same thing we did with 4 Men by Men, right? We need to understand that. We need to research. We need to know these numbers, right? Here are the things you need to have in place, the whole nine. Now, you want to do this, sure, come on board. We can walk with you. You can be the director. This is the best way we can help you. But some things with us, is not going to be tolerable. So you're not going to be able to show up smelling like weed. I don't care how legal it is. You ain't coming in my program smelling like no weed at all, right? You can't come in the program with alcohol on your breath. Not coming around. They don't. When we get the kids, we tell them this is not the same environment. We create this environment for you to understand what it's really like in this real world. Not what's out there. You can't bring what's out there in here. We don't have the same environment. We school you. We teach you. So when you go back out there, you can run that environment. We don't do that, right? So you can't come in here with alcohol, blow around the kid. We're not going for that from nobody. So those 2 standards alone. You can't use the N-word. Everybody think that this program is just for black kids. We take all kids. We don't want to discriminate from no kid. You're the discriminator, the parent. You don't come get this program because you discriminate, right? We don't discriminate, right? Dave, myself, my son, Victor, we all have cultures of friends of all cultures. Of all cultures. We don't play that. You do. So I learned a lot about even some of my friends. Like, okay, that's what's up. You know, hey, I know where my man, you right there. So to clear it up, knowing that we, in a position to wrap it up, Dave, what's the one solution that you can get to people, right? Because the men uniting the whole nine. Hey man, these men hate their daddies. Like, I'm just gonna throw a cover blanket. They hate their daddies. They hate men. They hate males. That's the only way that you can figure out that you can kill a brother, keep resources from a brother, hide from a brother, right? Across the board, right? That's just black males, white males. Don't matter. Finding the right circle is so important to you, and that's real. But what's that one solution you might have?
The first thing I think, in fact, the most important solution I think is self-examination. You just said it. When someone presented something to you that you said was meant to hurt you or bring you down, you went back to do the research. You went to self-examine. No human being can move forward. If you spend all your energy focusing on external factors, you'll never develop your internal stability. So the first solution that we need to do is, as men, first self-examine who we are. And as we go to teach boys, this is what we do in the program. We're teaching them how to develop an identity of who they should be down the road. And unless you develop that identity first, and that may sound, there's always these quick solutions, but we can't continue to be on the surface no more. We got to be divers. We got to go deep. And we got to get people to recognize once you start examining yourself and being honest, don't lie to yourself. Because when they said you were selfish, that's not, they saying that because they want what they want. But you are selfless. You're here doing this program 37 years. If you were selfish, you'd probably be a multi-millionaire because you got gifts and talent. But you went to develop an identity. This is an identity. So I think the first solution, the most important solution before we move anything beyond that is developing or helping young men or boys, what have you, to develop an identity that they too, as you use the word, can be authentic. Because once you're authentic with yourself, you don't have to fall for everything else that people give you, because now you can start to begin to develop who you are from the inside out. But most people are so preoccupied with external things, that's what manipulates their internal stability, which means they're unstable.
Man, yes. Yes. Self-accountability, right? Dive deeper, right? I can't disagree with you. I love that, right? When I was reading, right, Jim Rome, right? Jim Rome was always talking about improving yourself, right? T.D. Jakes, improve yourself. Les Brown, improve yourself. Dr. Miles Monroe, improve yourself, right? All the great men, improve yourself, right? And it was Rome that said, right, that is the most important job that he learned. When he went to his mentor told him, this is why you don't have this, because you're not your self-improvement yourself. What are you doing to improve yourself? So we can't get you to commit because you indoctrinated in the excuses anyway. See, commitment takes and is learned behavior, right? So in order to perform a commitment like what we're asking, because here we are, right, doing this work to improve the lives of children. Hey, and you talking 14 weeks, and they only gave up $1.50, right? So, when you get into the dynamic, the resources is you. You're the solution, Dave. That's what I want to make clear. It's you, the father, the male, the person. You're the solution. The problem is that You got milk. Remember the commercial? You got milk.
Mm-hmm.
You still got milk on your breath
Mm-hmm.
because you was convinced by everything your mom did, right,
Mm-hmm.
was righteous. So this is what convinced you, right? And so now you got all of these things tied into someone else
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't have that role model. Now
Mm-hmm.
you got that male role model. He takes you out the home and away from some of that milk.
Mm-hmm.
You see? But if you don't take me away from some of this milk and all I get is milk,
Mm-hmm.
which we did the research. It's the article the in the Detroit Sun right now. Detroit Native Sun is the article my wife wrote, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Estrogen is being given to the males and
that's right.
testosterone has been given to the females,
That's right.
right? And that's research, right? We ain't talking oh, this is just something we popped out. This is real research. So if you still giving that boy hypothetically milk, he will become dependent on the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, milk is not good when you become an adult, right? It causes you to have gastric problems.
Mm-hmm.
You become your stomach is no good. You bleed on the inside and the milk is tearing up your insides, right? Well, it was good when you was a child, but now as you're an adult, you can't keep taking that milk. See? So same thing for your son. It might have been good for him, but he don't have to do nothing. With that being said, I'm gonna make this quick. Today,
Yeah.
this is gonna be made quick, and I appreciate you coming on, Dave, and
Yeah.
appreciate you, El, and how important this boy crisis is. Right, we can get into it. I'm gonna do a workshop here real soon. Look for the link. We're doing a workshop for parents and everything. We're gonna give you some tools to help improve the environment around your sons. That's coming this month. It'll be a Zoom, and I might do some in person, but we're going to make sure that you get that link, and it comes with a fee. And we truly appreciate the opportunity to share these tools of the success of 36 years of success, helping our children, but our boys mainly. 65% of the 20,000 were boys that we impacted. So let's look at it this way. Family. Put your family first, right? The put, right? Why? That means you take an initiative. Your money can't circulate if your family is not on the same page, because now the dollar can't circulate because you mad at Dave or you mad at Boog and you don't like the fact that Boog didn't do this, so I ain't going to support Boog business. You are a contributor. As I started this whole conversation, the crisis of the boy stems from us all. So every last person, from racism, policy, procedures, white people, black people, Hispanic people, everybody was a contributor to this information that we've read here today, right? You are the oppressor, which is, I'm trying to make clear, when the men don't show up, you're oppressing your people. You're oppressing the boy. You're oppressing the children. And putting your family first is so important. Take the initiative. Give your nephew some love. Show your nephew. My nephew is in Florida. I showed him. My nephew's here. I showed them. I took my nephew when my sister husband went on a crack binge, the whole nine. I was there. Yeah, I benefited as well because I had some tools that I learned. But it's family. We do not play with family. Love your brothers and sisters. Love your nieces and nephews. Teach them the very best that they deserve. Give your man. If we don't do that, you're right, Dave. The crisis will continue. I'm Calvin Mann. Put your family first.
Yeah.
Collard greens and fried chicken. Now when grandma hands posted up in the kitchen. I'm sitting at the dining room table waiting to say my blessings. Now I feel like there's something is missing. It wasn't about taking the result.